Prince Harry has said he is devastated about losing his latest legal challenge over the security he receives when he's in the UK.
For years, tension inside the royal family stayed hidden behind palace doors, kept quiet and polished for the public eye. But nothing cracks that kind of silence faster than money, especially when the numbers start climbing into the tens of millions. Recently, whispers from royal insiders started spreading through elite circles, revealing a jaw-dropping twist. A massive $59 million bill was allegedly pushed back toward Prince Harry by King Charles III himself. What made the situation even more explosive was the claim that Meghan Markle had already sold off nearly everything tied to their business ventures, leaving Harry standing alone while the financial pressure closed in. So, what was really going on behind those historic palace gates? Was this a royal reckoning? A costly financial mistake, or something far more complicated unfolding in private rooms where cameras never reach? The moment that shook Buckingham Palace reportedly began in the quiet, almost sacred stillness of the VA. Early morning hours on March 4, 2026, an unexpected courier arrived carrying a thick document. Within minutes of being opened, that file allegedly sent shockwaves through palace offices and left senior officials staring at the pages in stunned silence. At first, staff inside the royal offices barely reacted. Documents arrived there every single day. Official letters, legal updates, diplomatic briefings, and messages meant to keep the fragile balance within the royal family intact. So when this particular package appeared on the desk, it looked like just another routine piece of royal paperwork, at least for a moment. At first, nobody in the room thought the document would cause any real commotion. Papers get opened and reviewed inside royal offices every day. But the moment the pages were unfolded and read carefully, the mood in the room slowly shifted. What looked like an ordinary file suddenly carried details that felt anything but routine. Line by line, the information revealed something far heavier than a simple update, and the tension in the air started building fast. The paperwork reportedly contained a massive financial demand tied directly to Prince Harry. This wasn't some small expense or a minor disagreement over costs. The number on the page was enormous, instantly raising serious questions across Buckingham Palace. Staff members reportedly exchanged uneasy glances as the scale of the situation became clear. What had started as a normal morning, filled with paperwork, suddenly turned into a moment of real pressure inside the palace walls. Within minutes, quiet whispers began moving through hallways and private offices. The message from the document was unmistakable. This was not just another royal matter. A financial storm was forming, and Prince Harry stood right in the middle of it. The Duke of Sussex, already locked in a fierce legal fight with Associated Newspapers Limited. The publisher behind the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday had reportedly requested that his father, King Charles III, step in to cover a staggering $59 million in legal expenses. The request immediately raised eyebrows inside the palace and sparked intense concern behind closed doors. What truly shocked palace officials wasn't just the massive number on the page, it was the reasoning behind it. According to Prince Harry's legal team, the lawsuits he was pursuing were never meant to be seen as simple personal complaints against the press. In their view, the case represented something much bigger. They argued that Harry was fighting not only for himself, but for the dignity and reputation of the entire royal institution. Their argument was direct and surprisingly bold. If the legal battle exposed wrongdoing in parts of the media and helped protect the monarchy's image, then the monarchy itself should share the cost of that fight. In other words, if the royal family stood to benefit from the truth being revealed, then it should also take on part of the financial responsibility that comes with uncovering it. Inside Buckingham Palace, the reaction was immediate shock. Senior officials reportedly studied the document carefully, expecting maybe a simple estimate of legal expenses. But what they found was far more detailed and far more startling. The paperwork included a full financial breakdown that made the request feel even heavier. The largest portion of the demand reportedly included $15 million in legal fees for Harry's well-known lawyer, David Sherborne, along with the rest of his legal team. Another $12 million had been listed as a contingency fund, money that could be used if the court ruled against Harry and ordered him to pay damages to the newspapers involved. But the list didn't end there. The document also included $5 million set aside for private security arrangements. According to reports, that amount was meant to cover protection for Harry during visits to London, where tensions tied to his legal battles and public profile have made security a constant concern. But it was the final items listed in the document that truly made palace officials stop in their tracks. One line reportedly demanded a staggering $10 million, described as an honor restoration fee. According to reports, this amount represented the value Prince Harry placed on his personal effort to defend the royal family's reputation in the public spotlight. For many inside the palace, that description alone raised serious eyebrows. Then came another number that added even more shock to the situation. The paperwork allegedly included $17 million labeled as opportunity costs. Harry's argument suggested that the intense pressure, emotional strain, and constant preparation tied to the trial had kept him from pursuing profitable opportunities in the United States. Business deals, partnerships, and projects he believed he could have taken on were all counted as part of the loss, when all the numbers were added. Together, the final total reached an eye-watering $59 million. Inside Buckingham Palace, the conversation quickly shifted beyond the numbers themselves. For those advising King Charles III, this wasn't just a financial debate anymore. It raised a deeper question about responsibility and principle. Should the monarchy pay for a legal battle that one of its own members claims to be fighting in defense of the institution? Or should the burden remain entirely his alone? That was the uncomfortable dilemma sitting on the table. The answer from the king reportedly came quickly and with unmistakable clarity. Within hours of receiving the stunning invoice, King Charles III made his position clear. There was no hesitation, no confusion, and no long negotiation behind the scenes. The message from the palace was direct. The request would not be considered, and the demand was completely rejected. According to insiders, the king viewed Harry's legal fight as a personal decision. From the monarchy's perspective, this was not a strategy approved by the royal family, nor a matter that required their financial support. Instead, palace advisors reportedly viewed the lawsuit as a personal mission that Prince Harry had chosen to pursue on his own. According to insiders, senior members of the royal household had previously raised concerns about the strategy. From their perspective, the legal battle was entirely Harry's responsibility, a path he decided to walk without the blessing, support, or official backing of the crown. For King Charles III, that distinction carried serious weight. The royal household has historically presented a united front when the monarchy itself is under pressure. But personal ventures, disputes, or legal fights taken independently by individual family members are treated very differently. Because of that, officials inside Buckingham Palace reportedly saw no legal, moral, or financial reason for the institution to absorb the consequences of Harry's decision. In simple terms, the king drew a very clear boundary. Private decisions come with private consequences. The monarchy in this case would not take on the financial burden of what it viewed as a personal pursuit. The speed and firmness of the response sent a powerful signal, not only to Harry, but also to the public watching closely. According to royal insiders, the king's reply reportedly carried an unusually direct tone. The message that returned to Harry described the legal strategy as nothing less than a suicide mission. That phrase alone revealed just how strongly the palace felt about the situation. To the king and his advisors, the lawsuit was not simply a risky move, it was viewed as a path that could lead to serious consequences. And just as importantly, the message reinforced one final point with absolute clarity. The monarchy, the king insisted, would not be responsible for debts created by Harry's personal choices. If the legal battle had been chosen by Prince Harry, then the cost of that battle, according to palace officials, would also belong to him. That refusal carried meaning far beyond the money itself. For years, critics and royal commentators had suggested that Harry still had access, at least in some form, to the financial safety net of the royal family. The belief lingered that if things ever became too difficult, the palace would quietly step in and smooth everything over. But the response from King Charles III appeared to shut down that idea in one decisive moment. By rejecting the request, the king sent a message that echoed far beyond the walls of Buckingham Palace. The safety net many people believed still existed was no longer there. For many observers, it looked like the end of an era. The period when royal protection might quietly absorb the consequences of personal decisions seemed to be fading away. The message underneath it all was simple but powerful. Harry, now living outside the traditional structure of the monarchy, would be fully responsible for the outcomes of the choices he makes. Royal watchers also noticed another detail that quickly caught attention on the very same day the invoice reportedly reached the palace. King Charles III wasn't anywhere near the legal tensions building in London. Instead, he was carrying out official duties at Northwood Headquarters, the home of the United Kingdom's permanent joint headquarters. The location was miles away from the courtroom drama connected to Harry's legal case. And to many observers, that distance created a powerful image, both physical and symbolic, between the king and his younger son during one of the most debated chapters of Harry's legal struggle. Some analysts even suggested that the timing of the engagement may have been intentional. By remaining focused on national duties and military briefings, the king projected a message of stability and responsibility, keeping the monarchy's attention firmly on state matters rather than family controversy. By standing firm, King Charles III reinforced a message that echoed throughout royal circles. The priorities of the monarchy, he made clear, were tied to the duties of the crown, not the personal battles of individual family members. Inside Buckingham Palace, the situation was no longer viewed as just a family disagreement. It had grown into something much bigger. At stake, many believed, was the reputation and long-term stability of the monarchy itself. For palace advisors, drawing a firm boundary had become essential. Protecting the institution, the centuries-old symbol of the nation, had to come before defending the choices of any single individual, even a prince. That reality raised a powerful question. If the monarchy refused to step in financially, what would happen next for Prince Harry? The answer began unfolding not in palace corridors, but inside the courtroom itself. While quiet conversations about money continued behind the scenes, the real drama of Harry's legal fight exploded into public view during a pivotal court hearing. Months of preparation, tense negotiations, and strategic planning by Harry's legal team had all been building toward this exact moment. What had once been discussed privately behind closed doors was now playing out under intense scrutiny. The courtroom held the power to decide the future of the case, and the atmosphere was electric. Every eye focused forward, every voice lowered as the legal showdown promised to shift the entire story. At the center of this dramatic moment stood one crucial figure, Gavin Burrows, a private investigator whose testimony was expected to carry enormous weight. For months, Harry's legal team had structured their strategy around what Burrows might reveal. His evidence wasn't just important, many believed it could be explosive, potentially shaking the foundations of the media industry itself. For months, Gavin Burrows had reportedly claimed he uncovered a large collection of evidence that painted a troubling picture. According to earlier allegations connected to the case, journalists working for the Daily Mail were accused of using unlawful tactics, including intrusive phone hacking, to obtain private information. The accusations went far beyond celebrity gossip or sensational headlines. At the center of the claims were serious concerns about privacy violations affecting Prince Harry and people close to him. As Burrows prepared to testify, the tension inside the courtroom was intense. Observers understood that his words could ripple far beyond the legal proceedings. Reputations, legal standards, and the broader debate around media ethics all seemed to hang in the balance. This was no longer just a dispute over damages or legal costs. It had become a high-stakes clash between personal privacy and media power. With Harry placed directly at the center of the global spotlight, every document and every statement carried weight. For Harry's legal team, Burrows' testimony was expected to be the pivotal moment of the entire lawsuit. Many believed it could serve as the decisive proof, the evidence that would confirm Harry's long-standing accusations about media intrusion. But when Burrows finally took the stand, the atmosphere inside the courtroom changed instantly. Instead of strengthening Harry's case, the investigator delivered a statement that stunned everyone present. Speaking under oath, Burrows withdrew his earlier claims. He admitted that documents he had previously submitted, including alleged lists of hacking targets and records of intercepted communications, were not genuine. According to his testimony, those materials had been fabricated. The courtroom reportedly fell silent as he explained how the situation had spiraled to that point. Burrows told the judge that he had been facing serious financial pressure, a struggle that he said had played a role in the decisions that led to the false submissions. According to his testimony, Gavin Burrows said he had felt pressure to produce evidence that would support the narrative surrounding Prince Harry's legal battle. In a surprisingly candid moment, he admitted that some of the materials he created were designed to match the story that was expected, rather than reflect the full truth. That admission alone sent a wave of tension through the courtroom. Burroughs went even further in his explanation. He claimed that he had been given the impression that if the case ended with a large settlement, he might benefit from it in several ways. According to his account, discussions had included the possibility of consultancy roles and even a potential book deal that could tell the inside story of the high-profile legal fight. At one point during his testimony, he reportedly summed up the situation with a striking line. He said, "I was told what the truth needed to look like, but it wasn't the truth. It was a script." Those words instantly shifted the mood inside the courtroom. With that statement, the structure of Harry's lawsuit appeared to weaken. Evidence that had once been presented as powerful support suddenly looked far less reliable, and the credibility of the case took a serious hit. But the surprises inside the courtroom were far from over. Another key moment arrived when journalist Rebecca English, a respected royal editor for the Daily Mail, was called to testify. For years, Harry had argued that certain stories about his private life could only have been obtained through illegal methods like phone hacking. He believed the press had crossed serious ethical boundaries to access information that should have remained personal. However, English offered a far simpler explanation for one of the controversial stories. She testified that a report about Harry's past relationship with Chelsea Davy did not come from hacking at all. Instead, she explained the information had been provided voluntarily by someone within Harry's own social circle, someone who chose to contact the newspaper directly. In other words, the leak appeared to come from someone within Prince Harry's own circle rather than from secret surveillance. That detail created a striking contrast inside the courtroom. On one side were Harry's accusations of illegal media intrusion. On the other were testimonies suggesting that at least some information may have simply been shared by people close to him. As the hearing continued, the case began to look far less straightforward than it once seemed. What started as a confident legal challenge now faced serious questions that could reshape both the future of the lawsuit and the public narrative surrounding it. Each new statement added more complexity to a story the world had already been watching closely. But outside the courtroom drama, attention was also turning toward Harry's personal life with Meghan Markle. Critics and commentators began asking how the couple had navigated the spotlight during such an intense period. Their marriage, often discussed in headlines, was once again becoming part of the wider conversation. One moment that quickly drew attention happened during a recent appearance connected to NBA All-Star Game events. Cameras captured Harry and Meghan sitting courtside while the crowd buzzed around them. At one point, Meghan, who also runs the lifestyle brand As Ever, was seen gently touching Harry's arm and appearing to encourage him to smile toward the arena cameras. To many viewers, the interaction looked like a simple, affectionate moment between a husband and wife enjoying a night out together. But not everyone saw it that way. Some online commentators quickly began debating the moment, offering their own interpretations of what they believed was happening. Among the loudest reactions came from a YouTube commentator known as Royal News Network, where the host shared a sharp critique of the scene and questioned whether the display appeared overly staged. The commentator suggested that the couple's interaction looked strangely rehearsed, almost like every smile, glance, and touch had been carefully timed for the cameras. According to Brittany, the public moments between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle didn't feel like a natural flow of emotions. Instead, she argued it appeared more like a carefully managed performance unfolding right in front of the crowd. Brittany pointed to Meghan's subtle gestures during the courtside moment, saying it looked as if she was guiding Harry to turn toward the cameras at exactly the right time. In her commentary, that detail created the impression of someone directing a scene rather than simply enjoying a quiet night out with her partner. Every handhold, every laugh, and every glance seemed deliberate, almost like each movement had a purpose behind it. She argued that these small details suggested a strong awareness of the audience watching from every angle. In her view, what should have been a spontaneous moment between a married couple instead looked like a polished public relations display. The smiles and gestures, she said, felt less like natural affection and more like a carefully arranged snapshot designed for public attention. To Brittany, the overall image projected by the couple carried a sense of intense effort. She described it as a curated picture of happiness, visually appealing, but lacking the easy, relaxed charm people often associate with genuine connection. "It wasn't just a simple interaction between two people in love," she said during her commentary. "It was a staged tableau." According to her interpretation, the timing, body language, and subtle nudges toward the cameras created a moment that felt more like a presentation than an unfiltered glimpse of real affection. For Britney, the courtside moment wasn't simply romantic. She argued it came across as a calculated display, a performance meant to be admired. As she put it, "It looked like they were trying far too hard to convince everyone that they are completely and passionately in love." Britney argued that when people try too hard to prove something, it can sometimes backfire. Instead of convincing the public, she suggested the effort may actually make the situation feel less believable. In her view, the courtside moment involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reflected the growing pressure surrounding their life outside the royal institution. Since stepping away from official royal duties and relocating to the United States, Harry and Meghan have built careers across media projects, business ventures, and public speaking appearances. Supporters see their path as bold and independent, a move that allowed them to shape their own future. But critics say the shift has also brought intense expectations and non-stop scrutiny. According to Britney's commentary, those pressures may be pushing the couple to work harder than ever to maintain a positive public image. She suggested that moments like the one captured during NBA All-Star Game events could be part of a larger effort to influence public perception and attract favorable attention. The challenges of their new lifestyle seem to be catching up with them, she claimed in her video. She went on to suggest that the couple now appears eager to generate moments that create positive headlines and public interest. Britney described the scene as an attempt to sell the idea of love to the audience, something she believes many viewers are beginning to question. While she acknowledged that Harry and Meghan likely intended to present themselves as a happy and affectionate pair, she argued the display had the opposite effect for her. "Even more honestly, I believed it less after watching them in that arena," she said. "When you see people putting on such a show for the cameras, it becomes obvious what's really happening. It doesn't look natural. It looks like a performance." Of course, reactions to public appearances by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle remain deeply divided. Supporters often view their gestures as simple and genuine expressions of affection, the kind of moments any couple might share in public. Critics, however, interpret those same scenes through a far more skeptical lens. Because of that split in opinion, even a short exchange at a major event can quickly explode into widespread debate across social media and news platforms. The brief courtside moment during activities connected to the NBA All-Star Game perfectly showed how every move the couple makes still attracts enormous attention. Whether people see their interaction as authentic affection or strategic image management, one thing is clear: the spotlight around them never fades. Even the smallest gesture can spark a much bigger conversation. But while the public debated those moments, a far more serious issue was unfolding inside the courtroom. As the legal battle intensified, the atmosphere around the case grew heavier by the day. What had begun as a bold stand against media practices was starting to look like a massive gamble with serious consequences. Each hearing seemed to add more pressure to the financial strain surrounding the case. What was originally framed as a fight for justice now carried the risk of becoming an extremely costly legal battle. Legal analysts began warning that the final outcome could be far more expensive than anyone had anticipated. If the case ended unfavorably for Prince Harry, the consequences could go far beyond a symbolic defeat. Courts sometimes require the losing side to cover not only their own legal expenses, but also the legal costs of the opposing party. In this situation, that meant potentially paying the massive legal bills of Associated Newspapers Limited, the media company behind the Daily Mail, the organization at the center of the dispute. Suddenly, what once looked like a bold and principled stand started carrying the weight of serious financial danger. High-profile legal battles can turn fast, and when they do, the costs can skyrocket. Analysts watching the case estimated that when all the fees and potential liabilities were added together, the total bill could climb close to $30 million. For Prince Harry, who had originally hoped the case might bring a major legal victory and possibly an apology from the press, such a reversal would be a brutal outcome. Instead of leaving the courtroom with compensation, he could end up facing one of the most expensive legal setbacks connected to a modern royal figure. But money was only one part of the story. Behind the scenes, the wider consequences of the legal fight were becoming harder to ignore inside the royal family itself. Life inside the monarchy had continued moving forward without him. The institution appeared to be adjusting to a new era, one that no longer depended on Harry's direct involvement. Senior royals had stepped forward to represent the modern face of the crown. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, had taken on an even larger role in public life, appearing regularly at national events and charity engagements. Alongside them, Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, continued their official duties as well. Together, they supported the vision of a smaller, more focused monarchy. Public appearances, charity visits, and state responsibilities carried on with steady rhythm. From the outside, it looked like the royal machine had learned how to run smoothly without Harry in the picture. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic Ocean in California, another quiet shift was unfolding in the life Harry now shares with Meghan Markle. Reports suggested that Meghan Markle had begun focusing more heavily on her own professional projects. Industry insiders said her attention was increasingly directed toward business ventures, media productions, and lifestyle branding opportunities. Behind the scenes, advisors were reportedly studying how to protect those growing ventures from any financial shock connected to Prince Harry's legal battle. In simple terms, plans were being discussed to shield her professional future from any fallout that might come from the courtroom fight. But for Harry, the situation appeared to be creating a deep sense of isolation. Not long ago, he had been one of the most admired figures in the royal family. His military service, charity work, and relaxed personality made him widely popular across United Kingdom and around the world. Many people once saw him as the relatable prince, the royal who could easily connect with ordinary citizens. Now that image seemed to be under serious pressure. Instead of royal ceremonies and public celebrations, his days were dominated by legal disputes, financial risks, and a growing distance from the institution he once proudly represented. As the case moved closer to a final decision under the authority of Matthew Nicklin, global attention intensified. Royal watchers, commentators, and legal analysts were all waiting to see how the judgment would unfold. The prince, who once promised to challenge the power of the press, now stood at the edge of what could become one of the most difficult chapters of his life. The outcome wouldn't just affect his finances, it could also shape how history remembers his battle with the media and possibly redefine his role in the long story of the modern British monarchy. And as many quiet observers had begun to reflect, the fight Harry believed would expose the truth had revealed something far more complicated. Sometimes, the biggest battles carry a price far heavier than anyone expected, especially when the outcome may never have been guaranteed. So what do you think about the situation surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Do you believe the criticism around their marriage is fair, or do you think Meghan's actions are completely justified? Let us know what you think. Drop your thoughts down in the comments because your opinion matters. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with others who are following the story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.